dream. I was flying high, I was feeling fine. I won't be put in line, 'cause I'm ready to do my time.
Simply Financial with Christopher Calandra, Certified Financial Planner, is an innovative, comprehensive, informative, and cutting-edge podcast that discusses financial topics ranging from personal finance, economics, politics, and personal growth. Simply Financial will cover intriguing and thought-provoking questions so that the listener can simply increase their financial IQ.
Welcome to the Simply Financial podcast. This is your host, Christopher Calandra. We are finishing up season number 2. This is episode number 51. Today, I wanted to change things up a bit. I think all of the previous episodes of the podcast have focused more on educating the listener on how they can make smart financial decisions and give them greater awareness of what's happening in the markets and the economy and that sort of thing. Today, I wanted to share with you a few trends that are impacting financial advisors like myself and the rest of the team here at Elliott Wealth Management Services. So 4 things I wanted to touch on with you today to kind of give you an idea on some of the things that I, as a small business owner running an investment advisory practice, are focused on. Number 1 is that there is a retirement crisis in this country, and that is really driving innovation. Americans are living longer lives, and that is changing a lot of the historic assumptions that were used in retirement planning. Additionally, fewer and fewer Americans have traditional pension plans. So I'm 48 years old, and other than people that are in the military or work for the government, whether it is a local government, state government, or federal government, other than those categories of employers, virtually no one else my age or younger has pension plans that they could rely on. So workers, families, are focused on building wealth through other vehicles like 401ks, IRAs, Roth IRAs, investment accounts because of the fewer pensions. And far too many Americans are building enough wealth to be able to retire in a way that's probably suitable. With this retirement crisis, there's also the element that for the last 10 years or so, even longer perhaps, we've been in a very low interest rate environment, and that has really changed a lot of the assumptions about retirement planning. So this retirement crisis is certainly driving innovation as the financial services industry tries to figure out how they can help Americans retire. So I mentioned it's a retirement crisis. Let me give you a couple of quick statistics. 1/3 of Americans have no retirement savings. That's mind-boggling to me. More than half of Americans have less than $10,000 saved. That is a very sad number. These figures, by the way, are from the Insured Retirement Institute. And the industry is looking for individuals, businesses, and even the government to develop and initiate lots of different solutions that can impact how advisors like myself can continue to design meaningful plans for our clients. So again, number 1 trend is the retirement crisis and how it is driving innovation in the financial services industry. Second trend I wanted to talk about is declining investment costs. This industry is as competitive as it's ever been, and that competition is helping to drive down investment costs for investors. Part of that competition is the emergence of exchange-traded funds, or ETFs, that tend to be less expensive than mutual funds and other investment vehicles that mainstream Americans have used for generations. Another thing that's having a huge impact in helping to drive down investment costs is technology. Our industry, the financial services industry, like a lot of industries, is being transformed due to technology. It's creating efficiencies It's also helping to drive competition, which I just spoke about. And artificial intelligence is also having an impact. And this trend also is driving the industry more towards charging clients fees as opposed to commissions. In the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, the majority of revenue that a financial advisor, or in the old days a stockbroker, would generate was driven by commissions. Another term we could use for commissions is transaction-related fees. And the trend, and this has been in existence for a while, I've been a financial planner for 26 years. This trend has been ongoing and I think will continue, is more and more advisors, including me in the practice here at Elliott Wealth, are trending more to charging client fees instead of commissions. So the second trend is declining investment costs, which is a better deal for clients. They're spending less to get their money invested in many, many instances, and that's a good deal. The third thing I wanted to talk about is the industry embracing holistic planning. So going back to what I mentioned a moment ago with commissions, the industry used to be much more transactional, and we continue to trend towards more holistic planning that's less contingent on transactions and quote-unquote the selling of something, and more of a consultation, more of a long-term, healthy, holistic business relationship. Here at Elliott Wealth Management Services, our expression of that is our gold medal services, which for us is our expression of what you will get service-wise if you're a client of ours. And that incorporates investment oversight, which, as you might expect, is designing a personal portfolio, year-long monitoring of investments, providing independent investments, regular meetings to review and evaluate your investment performance. Those things, I think, should not surprise you. But when we're talking about holistic planning, we also are focusing more and more on tax reduction planning with our clients. We do not prepare tax returns, but we spend a lot of time working with our clients and working with their tax preparer or CPA to make sure that we are being very smart in planning for taxes and being able to reduce them or defer them as much as possible. Another part of holistic planning is retirement income and distribution planning. As more and more Americans are retiring and they've built up some amount of wealth, a lot of focus here, and again it's expressed on our gold medal services, is working with them to develop a strong, reliable, consistent retirement income and distribution strategy. Another part of the gold medal services is working with our clients on family wealth planning, making sure they have a will and estate plan in place, do consultations with their attorneys, reviewing their life insurance policies, reviewing their various accounts to make sure that they have beneficiary designations and that those designations are consistent with their wishes and consistent with what's in their estate plan. And so that is an example of holistic planning. That's our expression of holistic planning. So the third trend is the industry embracing holistic planning. The final trend I wanted to touch on, number 4, is an increasing emphasis on security and privacy. As I record this, in the news is a recent data breach at Marriott in their reservation system. And it's just another example of bad guys out there, not just in the United States, but around the world. In fact, many of these breaches are happening in other places, including Russia, China, and elsewhere. But we have a tremendous emphasis in our technology infrastructure to maximize security and to protect privacy. I think this industry, has done an exceptional job on that front so far, because if you think back to things that have made headlines when it comes to data breaches, I can't think of a single notable example where someone's IRA or a 401k or a brokerage house like Goldman Sachs or Morgan Stanley or the platform we use at Pershing has gotten breached. There are a lot of checks and balances in the system, and I believe it's pretty robust. Now, the bad guys, they're trying very, very hard all the time to overcome the wall of defense that firms have, but we've done a pretty good job. I will tell you that my personal opinion is part of the success we've had as an industry is because there are easier targets. Credit card, email breaches, breaching companies that have reservation systems, or I think it was Target was breached a while ago. Home Depot had a big breach. I think it was Equifax, the company that keeps track of our credit scores and compiles our credit scores. They had a massive breach. I think those are simply softer targets compared to this industry. But I can tell you, after being in this industry 26 years, focusing on security and privacy is as important as it's ever been. So in review, the 4 trends that are impacting financial advisors like myself are, number 1, the retirement crisis that drives innovation in this industry. Number 2, the strong trend of declining investment costs for investors throughout the country. Number 3, the industry embracing holistic planning and moving away from transactional relationships. And lastly, number 4, a huge emphasis on security and privacy. So as I said at the beginning, I think this was a little bit different in terms of topic for the podcast, but hopefully give you a little bit of a behind-the-scenes insight into what I'm focused on, taking advantage of as a small business owner and the owner of an investment advisory practice in 2008-2019 timeframe. So thanks so much for listening. I hope you found the information valuable. Please subscribe to the podcast, the Simply Financial Podcast. You can do that at iTunes, Stitcher, other podcast platforms. You can also do it by going to my website, www.elliottwealth.com. While you're at the website, if you're not a client of ours, please know that you can sign up for a complimentary consultation with me so that we could discuss your goals, objectives, and how we might be able to help you win with money. And I guess the last thing is, if you're at the website, also sign up for our mailing list. Again, thanks for listening. I'll be back with you very soon on the next episode of the Simply Financial Podcast.
The views expressed are not necessarily the opinion of SagePoint Financial Incorporated and should not be construed directly or indirectly as an offer to buy or sell any securities mentioned herein. Investing is subject to risks, including loss of principal invested. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. No strategy can assure a profit nor protect against loss. Please note that individual situations can vary. Therefore, the information should be relied upon when coordinated with individual professional advice. Please note, the information being provided is strictly as a courtesy. When you link to any of the websites provided here, you are leaving this website. We make no representation as to the completeness or accuracy of the information provided at these websites, nor is the company liable for any direct or indirect technical or system issues or any consequences arising out of your access to your use of third-party technologies, websites, information, and programs made available through this website. When you access one of these websites, you are leaving our website and assume total responsibility and risk for your use of the websites you are linking to. Securities and advisory services are offered through SagePoint Financial Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC. Insurance services offered through Elliott Wealth Management, LLC, not affiliated with SagePoint Financial.
Simply Financial is part of the Exvadio Podcast Network. You can find Exvadio Podcasts at exvadio.com/podcast, the Apple Podcasts app, iTunes Store, iHeartRadio app, Spotify, Stitcher, and wherever you find podcasts. So join us and stay informed and entertained.